Alright guys, so I'm going to show you how to gather a tulle to make a gathered tulle skirt. And this is about 10 yards of tulle, and this is folded in half, which means it's folded along the width, which means from my left hand to my right hand, this is about 27 inches. So if I were to open this up, it would be 54. So this is 54 inches wide tulle folded on itself, and this here is the fold, okay? So this is the fold. So I recommend that you don't unfold this tulle, you just gather it along the fold line. And this is going to give me about a midi length skirt. When it's all said and done, it's going to sit kind of right here and give me a midi length skirt. So it would kind of hit, you know, right below the knee, okay? So let's go over to the sewing machine to see how it's actually done. Okay, so I mentioned that I usually gather my tulle in the fold of the fabric. So this is the folded side. When fabric comes from the fabric store, it comes on a bolt, and it's usually folded, so it's double. So I'm not going to unfold it. I find this is the quickest way to do it, so why unfold it and then create multiple layers? So this is going to give me 2 layers of gathered tulle for my skirt, which I feel that it's pretty poofy, and I don't need to go and add multiple layers, so it's kind of a time saver too. So the next thing we're going to do is move our fabric underneath the presser foot. And we want to make sure that it goes beyond the foot. So I don't want my fabric sitting right on the edge here. I want it to go beyond the foot. See that? So let's go ahead and put our presser foot down. So this is a gathering foot, which means that it's going to gather the fabric for you. However, how tight your gathers are depends on your tension. So you control how tightly you want this gathered. If you're going for a tightly gathered look, you want to adjust your tension to be really high. So let's talk about tension for a minute. All tension means is how tightly is the top thread pulling the bottom thread. That's all it means. So the higher the tension, the tighter the ruffles. The lower the tension, looser the ruffles. Okay, so on my machine, the highest tension is a number 9. I'm going to go ahead and make that number 9. And you also want to make sure you're using a basting stitch, which means the highest stitch length on your machine. For me, it's a number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a number 5. Okay. I also want to make sure that before I start sewing, I want to make sure that my needle is in the center position of this hole here, just because I don't want to take a chance with my needle hitting the foot and breaking. So I'm going to move my needle somewhat to the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and lower it manually. And now we're ready to stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to give this gas, and it's going to do the rest. So let's have a look at what it does. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop here and just show you what it looks like so far. Okay. So you see the tulle has been gathered pretty tightly, and I'm pretty happy with this. I think this would look really cute on a poofy skirt. Again, if you don't want it so tightly ruffled, you can just lower the tension. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, I'm just curious how long this takes. So I'm going to go ahead and gather, I believe I have 10 yards of tulle here. So I am working on a skirt for my daughter and I. It's going to be for us, her 2-year-old birthday, which is coming up in the end of August. So I wanted to make, I want to make a skirt for her and a skirt for me. Actually, a dress for her, skirt for me. So I'm going to go ahead and gather this entire 10 yards of tulle just to see how long it takes me. And I'm going to time that. So let's see how long that takes. All right, so timer, no, stopwatch. Okay. Let's start, and I'll be right back. All right, so let's see how long that took. 5 minutes and 35 seconds to gather 10 yards of tulle. I think that's pretty good. So give that a try and let me know what you think. Alright, so now that we're done gathering this, the only last tip I can give you is that leave a really long tail of thread. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead up my needle, up my presser foot, and I'm going to go ahead and gently pull. I'm not pulling the fabric, I'm pulling the thread. So I like to pinch the thread. And this is just so that we don't add any more, you know, tension here and it doesn't rip or anything. So go ahead and gently pull a big long tail. The reason we're doing this is because we don't have an exact measurement of how many yards of tulle we need for a skirt. You might need you might need to loosen up the gathers a little bit. Let's just say you have almost enough tulle but not quite. You can still make these gathers lighter by kind of, you know, spreading them out. So go ahead and leave a long. Okay, that should be good enough. And that's it. So I'm going to show you what this looks like from a distance. All right. All right, so I went ahead and gathered 10 yards of tulle, and as you saw, it only took about 5.5 minutes, which that's pretty efficient, right? I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, so here is what 2 layers of tulle gathered with maximum tension on my machine look like. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. So if I were to just take 1 layer of that and then put a tailored waistband on top, that's pretty good for me. Now, if you want to have an even poofier skirt, you can go for multiple layers of tulle. So if I were to double this up just to show you what it would look like, now we're talking 4 layers of gathered tulle, which is a lot. You see how it's really nice and poofy? Depending on what you want to accomplish, you can even add a 3rd layer if you want, or 4 layers if you wanted. Personally, I'm pretty happy with 2 layers of tulle. So yeah, this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. And if you want to watch the rest of the skirt being made, then just stay tuned. Bye.